thought I'd show you a day in the life again. Today is a day dedicated fully to getting everything sorted for Wales Comic Con this weekend. So the girls have already gone out to their grandparents and won't be back till I think about 5 when my partner returns from work. He's going to get them. He's gone into the office today, so it's just me and the 2 dogs on our own for the day, so we can get a lot done hopefully. I've already started the day by having a shower and getting a nice hot chocolate, so we're in a good mindset to let's get this done. I felt like if I didn't do that I'd probably rot in bed for way too long, so we're on it. I have just wrote my to-do list and we are ready to get started. So we're going to start by setting the printer off to do some printing whilst I am going through and doing some stock take of some badges and things like that. And then that way, when the prints are finished, we can print the badge parts and get everything sorted for that. So that's the plan. But yeah, let's get on with it. Entire sheet, these are all just a mess, and we have one singular shadow to go with the collection of Sonics. So I'm gonna have to print a load more and hope that they don't rip. I don't know why these ones did. They just for some reason decided they did not want to cut. Looked at the time and it's 12:15, so time is really running away from us. I've not got half as much done as I wanted to by now, but I have done a couple of things that weren't on the list. So just created a keyrings sign for the keyrings because they weren't selling very well at my last couple of events, and I think it's because of how they've been displayed. So I'm going to try this and hopefully more will sell. I don't know for sure, but it's worth a try. I also packaged some pet prints for Keep It Local because I realised I hadn't done that and I need to go there tomorrow to drop off a load of stock, so taking them is kind of priority. You can hear the printer's currently printing away still. It's taking about 1.5 minutes per A4 print, which is ridiculous, but it's just because of how good quality the pages are and how good quality I want the prints to be. So we're just gonna have to deal with it. I'm gonna have to take a break in 10 minutes because I need to make some lunch, and I also need to tidy up downstairs because we have someone coming around. I've got an appointment at 1:30 and downstairs is honestly a mess at the minute, and I feel like you're slipping. Downstairs is honestly a mess at the minute because all of Ray's toys are out from yesterday. I've not had a chance to put them away, but yeah, it all needs doing. So there's so much going on, and it's like I feel like even when I have days like today where I have prepared a set amount of time to get everything done, I still run out of time and I never have enough. I can set my sublimation printer off printing in a minute, so that'll be printing all the tumbler sheets, the sublimation paper for the tumblers, because I need to make a load of tumblers because I currently have barely any. I've got maybe 4 or 5 and they're Huntrix and Soda Pop. All my other ones are sold out, so I need to make them. And yeah, I'm hoping to take at least 10 to 15 with me, so let's see how it goes. Hey guys, so I just realised I never closed off the vlog. So it's now the Wednesday. Don't mind me, I'm eating some tomato soup with some baguette bread. It's now the Friday, the day before we go to Wales Comic Con. I'm very much understocked, just because I could have bought more products, but the problem was, this is my last event of the year, and if I bought more, I don't think I'd have sold them all, and I don't really have the space in the house to have a load of stock sitting for a couple of months. And yes, I can put it on retail, but different things sell in retail compared to Comic-Cons, so I just didn't see like there was much point. So it's kind of like a end of stock kind of event, I guess. I'm making more prints and things like that because I've always got paper. That's something I can always do. It's more things like my large badges are going to be running low, and things like my coasters are also going to be running low and things like that. So to the point where I'm debating, do I even bring coasters? I'm thinking not, and we'll just see how we go. It is going to be less products than usual, but I'm still going to have a lot more than I had maybe a year ago, or even a lot more than I had at the beginning of the year, so there's that. Also, frustratingly, I need to make tumblers. I've got the tumblers, I've got the paper. Can I find the power lead for my tumbler press? Can I hell? So I need to find one that works just as well. I'm not sure if my printer one will work for it. I'll have to have a look, because that's a good idea actually. Yeah, I'm gonna do that and then we'll just see how we go. Hopefully I get some made. I think I've got like 4 already made that were Huntrix and Soda Pop, so we'll see. I did record other bits, I just didn't record the outro, so I might just make this one long video and take you to Wales Comic Con with me. We're gonna actually be driving there and back both days, just because it worked out cheaper to pay petrol than it does for a hotel, because a hotel would be like £100 for just the Saturday night, and petrol, like a full tank of petrol, costs £55, and it won't need a full tank of petrol. Well, it might need 1 full tank there and back, there and back, but we'd have needed half of that anyway. So for the extra like 20-25 quid, I thought it was worth just driving back. So we'll see how it goes, but I am hoping to vlog a lot of this because it looks like it's going to be a really good event. One thing I'm a bit unsure of, I found out that the extension area to the arena, which is, well, not arena, but they call it arena, where I'm going to be set up, is actually, it's not outside as in it's undercover, and it's under like part, it's like an extension of the building, but the floor is grass, and I don't know how I feel about that. So yeah, it's unusual. We'll see. Maybe we'll have some issues, maybe we'll be okay. I'm hoping we'll be okay, but it is what it is. It's a trial and error, and hopefully we'll just have a good time. I know quite a few people that are going as well, so it'll be nice to catch up with some friends before Christmas, because considering this is the last time I'll see them before Christmas. And yeah, the only other event I may do, and this depends if I get in, I probably won't because competition is very, very fierce, but Liverpool Comic Con, I'd love to do that one because it's so close to home as well. It would just be perfect, but the competition is just really high, and I personally do not understand why I'd get picked over countless of the other amazing people that have applied. So as much as I've got my fingers crossed, I'm optimistically doubtful. That doesn't make sense, but I don't think it's going to happen either way. So, but yeah, we need to get some stock made, and then I'm going to pack everything tonight, which might be a mistake, but the girls are staying out. They're currently raising nursery today, and Violet is just napping, so I can't really do too much today in terms of getting everything out, so I'll have to do that later anyway. But yeah. So confused. I am packing everything up, and I have stickers ready to go. And I don't know where I've put them. I know where they were, but I moved them out of the way so my toddler wouldn't get to them. And now they're lost in the abyss. Not great. So we might not have stickers till this weekend's gone, unless I can find them. There's a teeny tiny chance I can find them, because they won't have gone far. I don't know, I feel like I'm gonna find them on Monday when I get back. That's usually what happens with things like this. I end up finding them like after I get back, and then it's like, great, that's exactly what I wanted. But kind of too late to... I could technically make them now, but I've got other things that are a higher priority for making and packing, so it's not worth going into. Oh well. Update. I found some of them. Not all of them, but like quite a few. And under that we've got 17 tumblers made. So we do have a couple there, but they've got errors and things. I don't feel comfortable selling them, but these ones are all pretty much perfect. So yeah, we've got 17. It is a good amount. Kind of wish I had more, but also I have more than I expected, if that makes sense. Yeah, we've got them in there. I'm struggling to figure out how best to organise the boxes, because like, if we look behind there, there's like boxes behind there as well. This one's got barely anything in it now, just because I've moved all the tumblers to there, but I need to just figure out the best way to organise this now. Also, I need to find the rest of my straws, because 4 straws is not right. There should be an equivalent number to these. In fact, there should be more than there are tumblers because of the errored tumblers, so I need to find them very quickly as well. I think I know where they are though, so it's not too big a deal, but let's get that sorted. Also, it's currently 2 AM. We're leaving at 6:30. Looks like I'm having a nap in the car. Eek. Hey guys, so it's 6:15. No, it's not, it's 6:50. We're about to go. We were going to go at 9:30, but then when we looked at timings, it was like, we can get away with leaving at 7. So, for the sake of sanity, we've given ourselves that extra half an hour. Yeah, we're heading off to Llangollen Pavilion now, and then we're going to set up. So here is my stall. I was happy with it, apart from this. It's like, yeah, it's a weird layout. It's really weird. But we're in early entry now. how well you can hear me. But it is early entry right now, and general entry is due to open in about 20 minutes. It doesn't seem busy for traders, but it's very busy for autographs. So I'm hoping obviously that'll carry over in a little bit later. So I'll show you what I mean in a sec. So here's the vendors, and then there's more vendors down there. But like that massive crowd of people, like just there, is queuing for autographs. So, and then there's more people over there, more traders, and then there's like props and things like that, but there's nothing in front of us. Also, how weird is it that it's just like dirt? Like it's just ground. And that right in front of me. It's not the vibe, it's not the play, but we'll just have to hope it doesn't affect us. So things have picked up. We are currently about 12:15. And we're at £128. So it's picked up, but it's still not like incredible. But it's much better than where we thought we'd be. Whereas in the first during early entry, so in the first hour and a half, it was literally £5. So I'm down to my last one, my Sarge Boys print. It is now 3:25. Okay, so it's 3:25 and we have made 281. So we have hit the goal of 250, but I'm not gonna lie, I set that goal thinking it's quite a low goal. So I don't know. Things are selling, but like my main sellers, my tumblers, I've sold one. And usually they'd be like gone. So I'm kind of frustrated that I stayed up till 3 in the morning making them, because I made 17, but it is what it is, and at least I've got them now and they're made. But hopefully I sell some more tomorrow, because otherwise it'll be kind of frustrating. I don't know what to do as well, because I have sold out of my A300s, and my A3 Sarge Boys only has one left. So we will have to print some more of them tonight. And yeah. I'm also going to treat me and my partner to an Indian, because I said to him, we knew we had to get takeaway tonight because we won't have time to cook all the energy. So I said if we hit 150, then I'll pay for a Chinese. If we hit 250, I'll pay for an Indian. We hit 250, so it is Indian tea. And yes, that does mean that last night was pizza, tonight's Indian, and tomorrow will probably be a takeaway as well, because when it's events, we just do not want to cook. And I think that's a reasonable thing, but it's still like not great health-wise. So next week is going to be quite healthy to make up for it. Can you hear this rain? Oh my god, it is coming down.
And it's right up. And it looks what the day looks like. I'm not seeing.
Today is day 2. We are wearing Pumpkin Mickey ears, and it is officially early entry. So my partner's just covering the stall because I've gone to speak to a company about a 3D printer. Something I'm thinking of getting, so we'll see if I actually end up getting it or not, but it's something I want to get maybe next year for the beginning of the year as my yearly big purchase. But yeah, I'm not sure how I'm gonna feel about today. So far it's dead, and they've also moved the band so it's right in front of the stall, and it is so loud. It's honestly agonising. Okay, so it is now Friday. It has been almost a week since the event, and I need to do a bit of a review. So I've already done a mini review online and on TikTok and Instagram, and I have tried filming this twice, and both times I ended up rambling on. So this time I've created Millie's being great as usual. This time I've created like a mini, not a script, but like a timeline type thing to try and keep me on track. So to begin with, I think we need to discuss communication. So the event itself decided they were going to set up a Facebook group, and that's fine. All for that. It's a great way for other traders to speak together and everything like that. However, there becomes issues when that is your main communication source. So they were supposed to send like emails. I didn't receive any, and when it was like the Thursday night, I realised I hadn't received a plan or anything, and usually you receive it like a week before. Sometimes I have had it like a couple days before, so I was like, it's not great, but you know. And I messaged one of my friends who was also trading. I was like, have you had this? Have you had the plan? Because the night before, like the typical setup day, even though I wasn't setting up on the Friday. And she said, oh, it's on the Facebook group. So I looked, because I remember that I did apply for the Facebook group when I got accepted and when everything went through, and it was pending. So they just never accepted me. And they hadn't like unapproved it, they just hadn't approved it. So thankfully my friend sent me screenshots of everything so that I had the plan. But things like that is just, it's really poor. And I can't think of any other way to describe it than poor. It's sort of events 101, and for a company that's done as many events as they have, you'd expect better and you'd expect more. Okay, moving on to number 2. So number 2 is, I'd say probably setup / layout. So the setup of the event, obviously I arrived on the Saturday, so a lot of people did set up on the Friday, but from what I've spoken to other traders about and what I've heard, it makes no difference when you set up. You still had the same issues. The primary one that we found was there was a floor plan, a very crude floor plan, but there was one. However, most of the traders' names weren't actually on it, and that led to a lot of confusion over who was going where. So the way it ended up is we were told when we got there, okay, there's the pile of tables, grab one and go put it somewhere. And I wish I could say it was said differently. It wasn't. That is exactly how it was put to me. And I was like, fine, you know, I was already quite stressed, and I'd been waiting for 30 minutes just to find out where I was going, because no one knew. From what I could gather, this is a bit of a side note, but there was maybe at least 40 people volunteering for the event and running the event, but it's exactly that. They were volunteers. Barely anyone was paid. I think I found about 4 people that were actually paid employees out of 40. So obviously the volunteers didn't know anything and they couldn't really help. So when I did get the table, all the tables were muddy as well. Most of them were broken and had mold, and you know, it was just a disaster. But I was like, I've just got to get it set up, get it done. Hopefully the event itself will make up for the very, very poor organisation and just logistics. So we set up the table and we were still setting up when early entry opened. However, that didn't really matter because there wasn't really anyone in early entry, and the only people that were there went straight for autographs, so it wasn't that big a deal. I was still setting up and I wasn't in anyone's way or anything. Now, if we move on to the venue, I think that's probably the best way. So Llangollen Pavilion it's near Wrexham. So Wrexham, North Wales, near Chester, not far from Liverpool, all that stuff. And the venue itself they do have a brick and mortar type venue, but it turns out that they have a massive, what I can only describe as a tent that pulls out and goes over. And to be fair, it was a sturdy structure in the sense that it had scaffolding inside. It was, it was built to withstand the Welsh winds, basically. And because Llangollen is in a valley, I imagine those winds get quite high. So it was sturdy. I will give it that. I didn't for 1 minute think that it was ever going to blow down or collapse. However, it is not waterproof. So for a light rain, it was fine. But on the Saturday, we had torrential rain. So it was literally raining from us leaving Manchester at 6 in the morning to us getting to Wales, doing the full event, leaving the event and getting home at like 7 at night. So for that full 12-13 hour period, it didn't stop raining. And we were in the same rain cloud. It was massive. And it was torrential. I mean, I added clips in this video of like just how it was. Like the rain was honestly sideways at some points. It was ridiculous. But it was that heavy that it was leaking through the tent at the seams and everything. And I'm quite lucky really in the sense that I wasn't directly affected by rain coming down. Some people had big sort of like, I don't know, big leaks, I guess, all over their stall. Quite a lot of people had ruined stock. The only way my stock was affected was by the other issue, which was the fact that, and I double checked, I can't find anywhere that it says this, and quite a few other traders weren't aware of this either, but we were on the dirt, we were on the mud, and I personally wouldn't have agreed to this. I probably wouldn't have done this event had I known, just because the way my products work, it is not a good idea to have loads of mud everywhere. It's the same reason that I very, very rarely do outdoor events now, because it's just not worth it. The amount of stock loss, and I have to negate them from my profits, and often it works out worse for me than if I didn't do the event at all. But because we were on the dirt, it was... So the dirt itself was dry because the tent had apparently been up for a couple of weeks. So that's great, except because it was dry, it was also dusty. So everything was getting dirty and dusty. And then where the leaks were coming through and where people's wet footprints were, it was also muddy. So you had like the worst of everything. You had the mud, you had the dust, you had the dirt, you had the water, and the humidity in there meant that, I know I had this myself and quite a few other people did, where any prints that were on display started curling, everything felt damp, and I noticed, thankfully because I set up on the Saturday morning, a lot of people warned me about this. The the fact that they'd set up on the Friday and then had this on the Saturday, noticed it. And they noticed all the prints curling and stuff, so I made the decision that I would sacrifice the prints that were on the display. There was one of a couple of designs, and it's not ideal, but I basically couldn't be bothered to take them up and down each day. However, any stock on the table I put in my car, and I basically re-put them out the next day, which was not ideal. I hate having to do that because it's like I've got 2 setup days effectively and 2 end days, but it meant that the stock was still sellable. Now, I was lucky that I was able to do that. Quite a lot of people weren't and had a lot of ruined stock, so I'm very sympathetic to everyone. But yeah, the whole venue, it just was not, it's not built for something like a Comic-Con. I can in sort of like the summer, but for this time of year, everyone knows in Wales, if you're looking at late September, October, November, you're to expect rain. You just are. You expect rain. You expect rain. You expect wind. You expect all the weather. You don't expect clear sunny skies. Although saying that, on the Sunday it was fairly clear sunny skies, but it is a rarity at this time of year, so you can't expect that. You need to prepare for the other. Now, this brings me on to the other issue with the event, with the venue, and that was it wasn't accessible. So anyone in a wheelchair, you could only access about half of it because of the way the mud was and everything. It just wasn't accessible in a wheelchair. Also, there was no signage, so there was a lot of confusion over where toilets were. When areas were getting muddy, no wet floor signs went out or anything, especially on the Saturday. I noticed on the Sunday they'd put a couple out in particularly bad areas, but it's kind of no good once it's been drying overnight and it's still like slightly damp. You should be doing it when it's literally leaking at the time. And yeah, there was a lot of red flags really, because there was also a lot of people who were announced for signings. So one in particular that sticks in mind was Jamie Campbell-Bower, and that sticks in mind so much because I thought that was so odd. And I remember when they kept announcing all these people that were coming, I kept saying to my partner, this is crazy. I didn't think this event was big enough to have these names. Obviously Jamie Campbell-Bower did, I can't remember if it's MCM, but he did one fairly recently in either London or Liverpool. I think it was Liverpool Comic-Con, and that is not on the same level as Wales Comic-Con. It might sound the same, it's not the same. So I was gobsmacked by that, and I wanted to create like a print specifically for him being there, and then it was announced like 4 or 5 days before the event, oh yeah, he's not coming. And I know it is common it's not super common, but it is common for people to end up having conflicting schedules and not being able to make it. I get that. However, it happened to the vast majority of their big names, and most of their names then were of a smaller variety. So people who had maybe been really big names in the past, but weren't necessarily doing anything super relevant at the moment, which is fine. Like, I'm all for everyone. Absolutely love that, but when you go to an event thinking you're going to meet someone like Jamie Campbell-Bower, especially ahead of the next Stranger Things coming out in November, and then to be told he's not there, but here are some other celebrities that you're maybe not interested in, it kind of takes a bit of a that's not what I wanted. And I know a lot of people as well prepaid for autographs and haven't been refunded as well. So there's that. What else is there? So the other issue I feel like is very, very important to say is there was a lot of problems with things like food. So there was no actual signage for where food was or anything like that, or even what was there. And I know me and my partner did get food from, they had like a burger van. He got a burger and I kid you not, he bit into it. It was raw, not rare, raw, cold, fridge temperature in the middle. And like, that can give someone food poisoning. That is just, it's past acceptable. And I know that's not necessarily on the event organisers themselves, that's on the company who are serving that aspect of the food, but it's still not something that is expected or should be done. And I think the final thing that I need to say as well is everyone also paid separate prices. So me, I paid $175. Someone a couple tables over from me paid $250 for the exact same spot. It's just, some people thought they were getting indoor, got outdoor. Some people thought they were outdoor, got indoor. It was a shambles, and I would not do this event again. I will say that it is only my second worst weekend event. So my first worst was my first ever con. That's the one I made the least amount of money at. And for this to be second to that shows how bad it is, because it is significantly lower than, let's put it this way, I made nearly as much in this weekend as I did at the one day Wigan Summer Comic Con a month ago. So, and that was a lot cheaper a table, about a third of the price. It was 15 minutes down the road, not 1 hour 15 minutes, and it was a local one-day event. So I think that says all you need to know. But overall, would not recommend. The only benefit was the dogs and the other traders, because all my friends are lovely. But yeah, so I hate ending on such a negative note, but there's not really anything good to say about this event, so hopefully next one we do will be better, and I will vlog it again if you enjoyed this one. If you didn't, that's fine. Please just don't be mean. I don't think I can handle it after this weekend. So